What up, guys? Nick from What Up Minecraft here, and welcome to the very first episode of our The Story Of series. If you guys don't remember what the story is when I announced it, like a while ago, then I'll leave a link somewhere on the screen to a channel guide video that I'm going to post shortly that explains all the different types of gaming videos that we have on this channel, but I don't want to spend too much time explaining that, so let's get right into the story of the first Assassin's Creed. Alright, now most of you know there's two parts in every Assassin's Creed game. There's the Desmond storyline and there's the Assassin storyline. So Desmond Miles is just an ordinary bartender that has been kidnapped by Abstergo Industries. There are two scientists named Warren Vidic and Lucy Stillman that are working to try and get him synchronized with this device known as the Animus. According to Vidic, our ancestors' memories are stored in our DNA, and he says that's kind of like a genetic memory, or like animal instinct. These scientists tell Desmond that they need to access a certain memory, but it's unstable, so to ease him into it, they need to start him from much earlier on, and this is where Altair comes in. The Animus brings Desmond back to his ancestor, Altair ibn Lahad, I hope I say all these foreign names right, who was an assassin in the year 1191. This storyline takes place during the Crusades, specifically the Third Crusade. Now, to explain these a little bit, the Crusades were holy wars that were carried out in an attempt to regain control of the Holy Land, which was mainly Jerusalem, as both Christian and Muslim religions believed that this land was promised to them by their god. After a brief tutorial session in the Animus, we see Altair and the two other assassins in Solomon's temple. They are there to ambush Robert de Sable, who is actually trying to find a piece of Eden. We'll learn a bit more about what that is later on. However, Altair is overconfident and breaks all the tenets of the Assassin's Creed. He fails his attack on Robert, and he is thrown out of the room with no way back. Altair returns to Masyaf, which is an isolated independent city-state in Syria, to tell his master, Al-Mualim, the bad news. However, one of the other assassins returns with the treasure that Altair failed to acquire. But the problem is, Robert de Sable really wants that treasure, and he followed him all the way back to Masyaf to retrieve it. As a demonstration that the assassins don't fear death, Altair and a few other assassins jump off a cliff into a pile of hay that Robert and his armies can't see. So, Altair then sneaks around the back of Robert's army and drops a bunch of logs on them, solving their problem for now. Even though Altair helped save the city, he must answer for his failed attack in Solomon's temple. Apparently, he broke all three tenets of the Assassin's Creed, which are: stay your blade from the flesh of an innocent, hide in plain sight, and never compromise the Brotherhood. Because of this, Al-Mualim kills him. But wait, isn't he the main character? Yes, he is. After a short break from the Animus, Desmond gets right back into it. Apparently, Altair's vision of Al-Mualim stabbing him was just an illusion, something that Al-Mualim wanted him to see. In order to redeem himself, Al-Mualim tells Altair to find the traitor that led Robert to them. Now, this is how most of the missions go. You get your targets from Al-Mualim, you go to the cities where they are, do some investigations about your target, then you find them and kill them. Or you bring them back to this old dude and have him kill them for you. After that, Altair gets his sword and his hidden blade back. So now we get into the main part of the storyline. Al-Mualim gives Altair a list of 9 men that need to be assassinated. According to him, these men are all evil, and their actions allow the Crusades to continue. If Altair kills these 9 men, they will achieve peace, which is apparently the goal of the Assassin Order. An order that has trained assassins that kill people. Kind of ironic, right? So Altair's first target is a black market weapons dealer called Tamir in Damascus. Apparently he has been selling weapons to both sides, the Crusaders and the Saracens. Now, most of these places are quite far away, so you must ride there on horseback. After not attracting too much attention to himself, Altair sneaks into Damascus. After doing some investigations, he finds Tamir confronting one of his men. After killing Tamir, you talk to him for a moment in this space called the Memory Corridor. He mentions something about serving a different cause and how his brothers will find out what Altair has done. When Altair returns to Masyaf, Al-Mualim gives his short sword back and gives him 2 more targets in Acre and Jerusalem. Now this is how most of the games go from here. Get your targets, sneak into the cities without attracting too much attention, and then you assassinate your target. So the second target is Galnier de Naplouse in Acre. He is guilty of importing people from other places, mostly Jerusalem, and using them for experimental medical treatments. It's basically torture. After killing him, he talks about how his work is noble, and how he tried to save people from brothels and prisons, and about a piece of Eden that the assassins stole from him. The third target is Talil, a man in Jerusalem who kidnaps thieves, beggars, and whores, and ships them out to other places, like to Garnier, for his experiments. After assassinating him, he tells Altair that he was really trying to save these kinds of people, and that the assassins are blind to what is really happening. So, for the fourth target, Altair goes back to Damascus to kill Abul Nakud. He is known for being very self-centered and extremely rich. Apparently, he hated the poor, and he blamed them for all the city's problems, and even killed them. And a good example would be, he even poisoned all of the guests at this party that he held in his own honor. Okay. After killing him, he also has some important things to say in the memory corridor. Apparently, he stole money from his people, but not for a war like Al-Mualim said he did. He says the money he stole is for a greater cause led by someone that Altair might already know. He even compares his work to the assassins, doing a little bit of evil work in hope of achieving something better. The fifth target, William of Montferrat, ordered the execution of 3,000 prisoners that were supposed to be ransomed by King Richard. He also stole money from the people of his city and forced them into service. In the memory corridor, he mentions that the money he stole was so that it could be rationed properly in the New World, and that forcing the people into service was to train them for an upcoming war. When Altair returns to Masyaf, he has quite a few questions for Al-Mualim after these weird memory corridor scenes. All these men seem to be serving some other cause, which has made Altair very suspicious. Finally, Al-Mualim tells him that the targets are actually Templars, which are the enemies of the assassins. He then gives Altair the sixth target, Majadin. Apparently, he kills people that don't agree with his way of life, and he acts as a judge, jury, and executioner. He even executed people in front of a cheering crowd as Altair approached him for the assassination. In the memory corridor, Majadin seems to believe that he's a god, and Altair shows him what he does to people that believe they're better than others. Then the story shifts back to Desmond for a bit. Apparently there are these assassins in the present day that are mounting an effort to rescue him. It's at this point that Desmond learns that Vidic is actually a Templar, and that Abstergo Industries is really a front for a Templar organization. Then when Desmond gets back in the Animus, we see Altair talking to Al-Mualim again. Apparently the treasure that the assassins retrieved from Solomon's temple is called a Piece of Eden, and Al-Mualim claims that many important stories in the Bible were caused by this object. The Templars were all working together to create perfect soldiers and citizens united by this object in their new world. After telling him this, Al-Mualim gives Altair the seventh and eighth targets. The seventh is a man named Sabrand. He is drunk with power and executes people who he thinks threaten his power even when they're obviously innocent. For example, he kills this innocent scholar in the middle of a crowd because he believes the man is an assassin. It seems that he's acting out of fear after hearing about the deaths of William of Montferrat and Garnier de Naplouse. After killing him, Sabrand admits that he planned to use his ships to block support from the king's army after the Templars conquered the Holy Land, or as he puts it, liberated the Holy Land. The eighth target is Jubayr al-Hakim, a man who is trying to stop his people from getting knowledge by burning all the books in his city. He blames books for wars. An obvious example would be the Bible and other religious scripts which caused the Crusades. Altair assassinates him while setting up book burning stations all over the city. Alright, now we're back to Desmond for a bit. Apparently the present day Templars are after the Piece of Eden. It turns out that the one that Al-Mualim had at Masyaf has been destroyed. Lucy then tells Desmond that there are in fact several pieces of Eden and they're relying on Desmond to show them where they are. So, now, here we are at last, the final target, Robert de Sable. According to Al-Mualim, Robert will be attending the funeral for Majadin in Jerusalem. Luckily, one of Altair's investigations told him not to fight at the funeral, because of the archers. After getting through numerous guards, Altair finally kills a woman. Yes, Robert de Sable is actually a woman. Okay, no, he's not, but this decoy is. Her name is Maria, and she tells Altair that Robert knew he was coming. She also tells him that Robert is on his way to Arsuf to tell Richard, the King of England, that he wants to unite the Crusaders and the Saracens against the Assassins, which are now their new common enemy. All the men that Altair killed previously were both Crusaders and Saracens, and Robert plans to turn those losses to his advantage. After speaking to Maria, he decides to spare her life, somehow, even though he already kinda stabbed her in the neck. After riding to Arsuf and fighting through endless waves of enemies, Altair finally gets to King Richard. He attempts to convince him that Robert is actually a traitor, and will use the Piece of Eden to betray the king's army as soon as the Templars get what they are after. Not knowing who to side with, the king decides to let God choose. He says God will side with the man whose cause is righteous, meaning Altair and Robert will fight and the winner will be the one who told the truth. Apparently, Altair fighting Robert means half a dozen of his men get to help too. In the memory corridor, Robert has something very important to say. Apparently the 9 Templars that Altair killed guarded the secret of the treasure, but there is a 10th. The master of the assassins himself, Al-Mualim, is the only remaining Templar that now guards the treasure. Altair briefly speaks to King Richard before Desmond wakes up from the Animus. It seems that assassins have arrived at the lab to rescue Desmond. However, their rescue attempt has failed. Desmond becomes worried that he might be killed after the Templars get what they're after. After Vidic leaves, Lucy tries to reassure him by showing him the sign of the assassin. So now we're back in Masyaf with Altair. He learns that the people have already been put under the influence of the Piece of Eden, so they're basically all brainwashed. Altair must fight through waves of his own allies to finally get to the castle and face Al-Mualim. After speaking with Al-Mualim, he learns that the Templars planned to use the Piece of Eden to turn everyone's brains to mush to achieve peace. This quote is probably the easiest way to summarize the Templar plan. So long as men maintain free will, there can be no peace. After fighting illusions of the targets that Altair killed and copies of Al-Mualim, he preaches again about how important stories in the Bible were caused by this treasure, but that they were in fact illusions. After fighting him one final time, Altair finally kills his master and says, which means, nothing is true, everything is permitted. Altair says he should have destroyed the Piece of Eden when he had the chance, because it is too much power for one man to hold. Altair promises that he will destroy the Piece of Eden, and Al-Mualim says, we'll see about that. The apple then rolls away and a giant holographic map appears with dots all over the globe. So that's the end of Altair's story for now. It would appear that the Templars found what they are after. They are going to use that map to find all the pieces of Eden all over the world for some other plan that remains unknown to us at this point. After Vidic and Lucy leave, Desmond starts to see things in eagle vision, a power that Altair had. He notices markings all over the wall in his room, when all of a sudden, credits roll. And there you have it, guys, the story of the very first Assassin's Creed game. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a like if you did, and I'll put some links here to the story of Assassin's Creed 2 when I finish that video, and also the Assassin's Creed Game Facts video. And that's Facts with a Q, which is another series that we just started, and maybe some links to other series which I will do next for the story of, which I think will be The Walking Dead by Telltale Games next. So I hope you guys like the series, and leave a comment for other video games that you would like to see in the story of, and as always, subscribe if you haven't already to get updates on more awesome videos like this one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.